saying, "Hi, Greek kids." Oh my goodness. I'm reading about Gideon's army from Judges, chapters 6 through 8. There was this man in the Old Testament, and he was a very fearful man. In fact, he hid in a wine press to make wheat into flour. He was so afraid of the other armies that surrounded his land that he pretty much stayed in hiding until the Lord sent an angel to see him. And the angel said, "You are a mighty warrior. You need to trust God." Well, this man Gideon said, "I don't know about this. I'm not a leader. I don't know if I can do this." But the angel of the Lord told him, "Yes, you can." Boys and girls, have you ever been afraid? Have you ever woke up in the middle of the night with a bad dream? Have you ever gone to preschool for the very first time and felt afraid? Or maybe pre-K 5 or even into kindergarten and you've been afraid? Do you know the Lord goes with you everywhere you go? He is with you and he loves you. Right now I'm going to read to you from our book, the Bible, the Bible. And remember, everything in our Bible is what? It is true, and God wrote it. Now we're going to talk about Gideon. Are you ready? Gideon was praying. He was talking to the Lord of Israel, and he believed, and he was ready. He had 10,000 men to fight against the bad guys who worshiped Baal, who did not believe in the one true God. Gideon said, "Lord, I am ready. I have 10,000 men." And God said, "You don't need this many soldiers." God said, "I am going to test those soldiers." God told Gideon to take the men down to a stream of water. And he said, "Tell them all to get a drink." Most of the men got down on their hands and knees and drank the water, kind of like a puppy or a kitten. They just got down on their hands, their knees, and drank and drank and drank from the water. But only 300 men scooped the water up and drank while they were looking around. They would drink from their hand, and they'd look around if it was safe and none of the bad guys were around. They'd bend down again, they'd scoop up some more water and drink again. This showed that those 300 soldiers were alert, they were looking around, they were using their ears and their eyes. And God said to Gideon, "The men who scooped the water up and stood drinking, those are your soldiers. Send all the other guys home." What? Only 300 men? God said, "Yes, those are my soldiers. That is my army." That night, Gideon's army surrounded the camps of the bad guys. You know, those guys who didn't worship God. And they surrounded them, and Gideon gave each man a trumpet and a candle. Now their candles weren't like our candles. They were clay pots with oil in them and a piece of rope. They were very, very special candles, nothing like we have. He said to each of his army members, "Here is a trumpet, here is a clay pot candle." At his signal, Gideon said, "Listen for my signal, and you are going to smash your candle, and then you're going to blow your horns." The light from the 300 torches or candles surrounded the enemies. And at Gideon's signal, I don't know what his signal was. Maybe it was charge, or maybe it was in God we trust. But he gave his signal, and the men smashed their jars, and all 300 men blew their trumpets. And guess what happened? The bad guys, they ran off in all directions, and they never came back to the land where Gideon and his army, the army of God, lived. As long as Gideon was the leader in that land, the people of Israel lived in peace. They didn't have to fear anything because They lived with Gideon as their leader and God as the one true God. And the Lord blessed them. I don't think I'll ever look at a candle the same way again. Boys and girls, I'm sure glad you were here at Creek Kids today. I hope to see you right back here next week. Bye, friends.